Hello. Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Abhinav, and I'll be taking your SAT master class for today. And we'll wait for 2 or 3 minutes more for everyone to join. And once they join, we'll start the. Hey, Shreya, I am muted because we are just waiting for a few other students to join, and we'll start in a couple of minutes. So let's start now. So, welcome everyone. Good evening. My name is Abhinav, and I take care of the math section of all the competitive exams in general in UniHawk. Today, we'll be discussing the SAT masterclass. So, our main topic would be paper versus the digital. What are the changes that happens? What is the time management that we do? And understanding the type of question in general. So, to begin with, so as you all know that the SAT is now digital from next year onwards. From the March, your SAT will be a digital instead of paper based. So in general, previously it was paper based for both international as well as US students, but now it will be totally computer based for the international students. But for US students, from next year onwards, like next to next year, from 2024, from 2024, it will be online. As of now, it will be paper based in US, but in international, it will be only the computer format or the digital one. So what are the structure? What is the main changes that happen is your time limit. Previously, your total number of questions, or you can say the total time taken for the exam was 3 hours, but now it's only 2 hours and 15 minutes approximately. So number of questions are also reduced from 154 question previously to now only 98 questions. What is not changed is your scoring. Previously, your scoring was from 400 to 600. Still, the scoring remains same as your 400 to 600. That means if I discuss individually in math particularly, you'll have 200 to 800 as the score, and same goes for English, 200 to 800 score. That means minimum the marks that you can achieve is your 200. Even though if you don't do any question right, your minimum marks that you'll get is 200, and maximum marks in any particular section, be it English or math, would be 800. Another thing is answer choices. Previously, there were question and there'll be 4 answer choices given to the particular question. And there was again another type of question that was your gradient type of question. In gradient type of questions, you are supposed to plug in your answer choices, but now you have to just answer the question. Now what is changed is there'll be a question and there won't be any answer choice, and you have to plug in your answer into the, you can say, column in general. So if I talk about the structure of the SAT, what is changed? Previously, there was writing 52 minutes. Wait a second. So in reading or in English particularly, you had reading and writing. In reading, you had 65 minutes, and in writing, you had 35 minutes. But now you have two individual module 1 and module 2. In module 1, you will be getting 27 questions, which consist of both reading as well as writing section. So now it is not separate as previous, that first section would be just reading and then second section would be writing. Now it will be two modules, module 1 and module 2. Module 1 consists of 27 questions, 32, and the time allotted would be 32 minutes. Same goes for your module 2. Module 2 will have 27 questions to be answered in 32 minutes. Then you'll get 10 minutes break in between. Previously in math section particularly, there were two sections. One was non-calculator and another was a calculator based. In non-calculator, there were 20 questions to be answered in 25 minutes. And in calculator, there were 38 questions to be answered in 55 minutes. But now, again, same as your English section, there'll be two particular modules, module 1 and module 2 for math also. So in module 1, you'll be having 22 questions to be answered in 35 minutes. Same goes for module 2. There'll be 35 questions to be answered in, 22 questions to be answered in 35 minutes. Again, if I talk about modules, previously, one second. Previously, the question paper was fixed, so the level of difficulty was same for each and every particular student. But now, it's a section adaptive question paper. What do I mean by section adaptive question paper? You have two sections, section 1 and section 2, or we call it as module 1 and module 2. So module 1 will consist of all the easy, medium and hard set of questions. Let's say if I talk about math itself, so there'll be 20 questions consisting of easy, medium and hard type of question. So based on your performance in your section 1, your section 2 difficulty will vary. That means if you perform very good in, let's say, section 1, your section 2 will be harder than your section 1 because you have performed comparatively better in your all easy, medium and hard type of question. But if I talk about previous type of pattern, in there, the number of question or the level of difficulty was same for each and every particular student. But now what is changed? It's a computer or section adaptive. So that means in section 1, you'll get easy, medium and hard based on your performance in section 1. Section 2 will be entirely depending. So make sure that you do very well in your section 1 so that your section 2 will be harder and comparatively you'll get more score than the other kids who are not scoring better in, let's say, section 1. So if you are not scoring good in section 1, again your section 2 won't be that much difficult, right? So your score will vary. The major changes again in your SAT digital is now you have 52 passages or short passages, and for each passages there'll be only one particular question dedicated to each of them. But previously there were 4 passage and 1 comparison, and approximately 10 questions were there for each particular passage. If I talk about the math section itself, previously there were 2 sections, again non-calculator and calculator, but now your entire math section will have a calculator. Calculator will be a graphical calculator that will be provided in your screen. So that means you can always plot the equations in general. So if you are, let's say, if you are stuck in any particular question and you don't know how to find, let's say, root or the solution in general, you can always plot it into your calculator and you can get the answer directly from the calculator. So be thorough with the calculator. If you are good in calculator, you can use it very well in now digital SAT. Lastly, now you have time limit. Previously for math, if I talk about, there were approximately 75 seconds for non-calculator based question and 87 seconds for calculator section. But now for each question, you have approximately 1.5 minutes to answer. And if I talk about English, for each question, you have 71 seconds. Previously, for reading, you had 75 seconds, and for writing, you had 48 seconds. So, time wise, there is not much difference. Previously, also within 1 minute, if you are able to solve any question, that means you are doing it in a right way. Still, there will be harder question in math, particularly that will be time consuming, so you have to dedicate your time accordingly in general. So let's start with today's discussion, that is your time management. How do we in general manage time when we have different type of questions presented? So first thing is, always remember to skip the question. What do I mean by skipping a question? Let's say you are attempting a general question. In general, what we do is we start solving the question, and eventually sometimes we don't get the particular answer, right? So make sure that if you are spending more than 2 minutes in any particular question, try to skip that question, because it's taking the same question time as well as the other question times also. So try to learn to skip the question. So let it go. Always skip the question for which you cannot answer it within the time or within the desired time limit. That is your 2 minute time. Another is identify your hard questions in the math section. What do I mean by identifying the hard math questions? There are few questions, by seeing them itself, you can tell that they are time consuming. If they are not hard, they might be time consuming question. So if they are time consuming question, try to skip these questions, and you can always come back to these type of questions again once you are done with the other easy or medium level of difficulty questions, right? As I said in before also, be familiar with your calculator. If you're good with the calculator, you can easily solve your graphical question or the root question or the solution questions likewise, right? So be familiar with the calculator in general. Another thing that we can use to manage our time well is your elimination of the answer choices. So what do elimination of the answer choice means? We will see this thing again in the next section. So as of now, always remember, we can always eliminate few answer choices, because you have always 4 answer choices and only one of the answer choice will be your correct answer choice, right? So in general, remember to eliminate the option choices. So whatever option choices are given, only one of them will be correct. So learn how to eliminate these answer choices. We will see how do we tackle these type of situations also. Lastly, it's always practice, practice, and practice. In general, if you practice well, you will be able to recognize that a given question, can I skip it, or it will be taking too much time, or can I solve it with calculator or without calculator? So that all these things will come with practice. So if you practice well, you'll be able to manage your time effectively, and you'll be able to solve each and every question within 1 minute. And in general also, you won't be given any question which will take more than 1.5 minutes in SAT math particularly. So remember, practice well. If you practice more and more question, eventually your time management will be good. So now let's skip to the next part. Next part is nothing but your elimination. How do we use this elimination technique in general? So let's discuss this with the question. So let's say if this is the question given to me in SAT, that is 3x plus 4y is equals to minus 23 and 2y minus x is equals to minus 19. What is the solution x comma y to a system of equation above? So in these type of questions, let's see how do we tackle these type of question in general if it comes in our school exam. So what I'll do is I'll take my first equation 3x plus 4y is equals to minus 23, and I'll take my second equation 2y plus 19 is equals to x. And I can always use my this value of x, and I can always substitute this value of x in my equation 1 to get the value of y, and we call it as a substitution method. So if I do that, it will become 3 times 2y plus 19 plus 4y is equals to minus 23. Now it will become 6y plus 3 times 19 plus 4y is equals to minus 23. And I keep on solving and I will get the value of y, right? So this is your general way of approaching these type of questions. That is your process of elimination. The moment I see the simultaneous equation, I will always use the process of, substitution method, or I'll just use the general solving of these two simultaneous equation. But if I talk about process of elimination, what I'll do here is I'll take the option choices, and from the option choices, I will try to eliminate the wrong answer choices. So how do we do that? Let's see that. So if I take option choice 1, it's minus 5 comma minus 2. So that means if this is the answer to my question, that means if it is the solution of the system equation 3x plus 4y is equals to minus 23 and 2y minus x is equals to minus 19, that means it should satisfy the simultaneous equation. That means if I substitute x as minus 5 and y as minus 2, it should satisfy my equation. So let's take a simple equation, the second one, that is 2y minus x is equals to minus 19. So if I substitute the value of x and y into this equation, if it is satisfying, that means this might be my answer. So let's substitute this. If I substitute x as minus 2, it will become plus 2. And if I substitute y as, if I substitute x as minus 5, it will become 5 and y as minus 2, so minus 4. But minus 4 plus 5 will never give me minus 19. That means my first option choice is eliminated. Similarly, I'll try with my second option choice. I substitute x as 3 and y as minus 8. So if I substitute x as 3 and y as minus 8, so it will be 2 times minus 8 minus of 3. So 2 times 8 is minus 16 minus 3, and eventually I'll get minus 19, and minus 19 is equal to minus 19. That means this can be my answer. Now let's move on to next. Next is 4 comma minus 6. So if I talk about 4 and minus 6, if I substitute 4, so it will be 2 times minus 6 minus of 4. 2 times 6 is minus 12 minus 4. Eventually, I'll get minus 16. That again is not equals to minus 19. So that is also eliminated. Similarly, option choice D will also be eliminated, and your answer will be option choice B. So remember, the moment you see these type of question, if you are not good in solving the simultaneous equation, you can always do the process of elimination of your option choices. That means I can always resubstitute my answer choices into the question itself. Now let's see the other type of elimination. There's another type of elimination technique that we can use is we can replace the variables with our own values. What do I mean by that? If in general, if I see this question, let's say if the question is saying if x is greater than 3, which of the following is equivalent to 1 divided by 1 over x plus 2 plus 1 over x plus 3. So instead of solving this, I know the condition given to me is x is greater than 3. So I can easily take any value that is greater than 3 as my x. Let's say if I take x as 4. So if I take x as 4, it will become 1 over 4 plus 2 is 6 plus 4 plus 3 is 7. And if I solve this, it will become 6 into 7 divided by 6 plus 7. And eventually I will get 42 divided by 13. That means my answer is a fraction, which is 42 divided by 13. Now, the moment I see 42 divided by 13, I know that option choice C and option choice D is automatically eliminated, because if I substitute x as 4, it will never give me a fraction, and this will also never give me a fraction. That means answer can be either A or B. Now, again, if I see my denominator of option choice B and numerator of option choice A are same, I'll just check 2x plus 5. I substitute x as 4, it will become 2 times 4 plus 5 is nothing but 13. That means 13 has to be my denominator. So I will say B is my final answer and A is also eliminated. So this is how you use your own value to eliminate your option choices in general. Now let's discuss the third type of elimination, that is your testing the model in general. What do I mean by that? Let's say take the example of this question. Here the equation, here the equation is given to us as h is equals to 3a plus 28.6. H is the height of a boy, A is the age of a boy, and A can vary between 2 and 5. Based on the model, what is the estimated increase in inches of a boy height each year? So if this type of question comes in SAT in general, if you are thorough with your linear equations, then you might know that they are asking you the slope or the rate, and that itself is 3, and you automatically answer A as your final answer and you'll move on to the next question. But let's say I don't know how to solve, or I don't know the application of linear equation. So in that scenario, what I'll do is I'll try to test the model itself. That means they are saying what is the increase in the height each year. So for each year, I know the year vary from 2 to 5. So let's take A as 2 and then let's take A as 3. So if A is 2, what will be the value of H? I'll find H will be 3 times 2 plus 28.6. Similarly, if I substitute A as 3, it will be 3 times 3 plus 28.6. 6. So answer would be 6 plus 28.6, that is 34.6. And similarly, 9 plus 28.6 is nothing but 37.6. And if I see what is the increase, you can just see that there is an increase of 3 unit, and automatically my option choice B, C, and D are eliminated. So these are the type of elimination techniques that you can usually use in general in your process of elimination. So I guess the time is over. So I'll just quickly go to the last slide. So I'll just take the questions. If anyone have a question, you can just post it on the Q&A or the chat, and then I can answer the question. Meanwhile, do remember to follow us on our socials. You can see these are the socials of UniHawk. You can just follow us on Facebook, Insta, Twitter, LinkedIn, or YouTube. You can post your questions on the question and answer tab. So Noor, you were asking about the PPT. We can share the PPT also, or in general, you can always find the video in the YouTube channel. So if you want anything from the PPT, you can always refer that. Is this also applicable for the science stream student for grade 12? What is basically you were asking? Can you elaborate, Shreya? So for next time, from the digital set, you will have both type of questions. You will have multiple choice questions as well as your uh, response type of question also. So 75 and 25% is the main criteria. So 75% of the question in math will be your MCQ type of question, and remaining 25% of question will be your uh, response type of question, where you have to plug in your own value or whatever the answer you get, let's say 5, 10 integer, you just plug in those integer values. Yes, in English, all the questions will be MCQ. So thank you, everyone. I guess our time is over now. So don't forget to follow us on our socials. These are our socials. And I'll see you on the next masterclass. Thank you.